Watch the video, and it looks completely real. A massive semi-truck cruising smoothly down an open road under its own power. No driver strain, no hesitation, just a machine that works. It wasn't real. There was no engine running, no motor turning. The truck had been towed to the top of a hill, released, and allowed to simply roll downhill in front of the camera, coasting on gravity, edited to look like propulsion. That 2-minute video helped convince investors that Nikola Corporation was building the future of trucking. Within months of going public, the company was worth more than Ford. The man behind it, Trevor Milton, grew up milking cows on a farm in Utah with no college degree. He would become a billionaire, then a convicted felon, sentenced to federal prison, and then, in one of the more startling final chapters in this entire series, pardoned entirely. This is the story of a truck that never moved under its own power, and the fraud that, for a while, moved billions of dollars anyway. Trevor Milton founded Nikola, a name deliberately chosen to echo Tesla, styled after inventor Nikola Tesla, the same way Elon Musk's company was, in a Utah basement in 2014. The pitch was ambitious, even by Silicon Valley standards. A semi-truck powered by hydrogen fuel cells, capable of hauling freight across the country while emitting nothing but water vapor. Diesel trucking is a genuinely dirty, genuinely enormous industry, and a real zero-emission alternative would be a massive deal. Investors wanted to believe it. In June 2020, Nikola went public through a merger with a shell company, a SPAC, a process that let it skip the more rigorous scrutiny of a traditional IPO. On its first trading day, Nikola's valuation briefly touched roughly $34 billion. Milton, as the company's largest shareholder, was suddenly worth billions on paper. The company hadn't sold a single production truck. Momentum kept building anyway. That September, Nikola announced a partnership with General Motors. GM would help engineer and build Nikola's pickup truck, the Badger, in exchange for an 11% stake in the company worth roughly $2 billion. To outside observers, having an automotive giant like GM willing to partner up felt like validation that the technology was real. Milton, meanwhile, was everywhere. Podcasts, social media, investor calls, talking with total confidence about trucks that were, according to what prosecutors would later allege, nowhere near as functional as he described. The truck in that rolling downhill video was called the Nikola One, and it wasn't a one-time exaggeration. Prosecutors would later describe a pattern stretching across nearly every part of the business. Milton had described the Nikola One as fully functional, telling audiences it worked and could be driven under its own power. In reality, according to the government's case, the prototype was missing fundamental components, including the motor and control systems that would actually let it move on its own. To create footage that looked like a working truck in motion, the vehicle was towed to the top of a hill in Utah, and the crew simply let it coast down, filming from angles designed to hide the absence of an engine doing any work. The deception extended to the Badger pickup truck as well. Investigators found that showcase versions lacked basic functioning components, airbags, a working climate system, with interior lighting that was merely backlit to look operational rather than genuinely wired in. For nearly a year, the story held. Then, in September 2020, a short-selling research firm called Hindenburg Research published a report bluntly describing Nikola as, in their words, an ocean of lies, a detailed accusation that the company's technological claims were fabricated or wildly overstated, built on a pattern of demonstrations designed to deceive rather than showcase real engineering. The Hindenburg report landed like a bomb. Within days, Nikola's stock began falling sharply, and scrutiny that had somehow been absent for months arrived all at once. Trevor Milton resigned as executive chairman later that same month, stepping back from daily involvement as the company scrambled to respond to the allegations. The Securities and Exchange Commission opened a formal investigation into the claims Milton had made to investors. By 2021, the SEC's investigation into the company itself resulted in Nikola agreeing to pay a $125 million settlement over the misleading statements, resolving the company's civil liability, but leaving Milton's personal legal exposure very much open. That same year, federal prosecutors in New York filed criminal charges against him directly: securities fraud and wire fraud, alleging he had personally deceived investors across nearly every aspect of Nikola's business. Milton pleaded not guilty. He would spend the next year fighting the case in court. Milton's trial began in September 2022 in a Manhattan federal courtroom and ran for roughly a month. Prosecutors built their case around the pattern: the rolling downhill video, the badger's non-functional showcase parts, Milton's own public statements exaggerating what the company had actually achieved. Nikola's own CEO, called as a government witness, testified that Milton was, in his words, prone to exaggeration in pitching the company to investors, startling testimony coming from inside Milton's own company. The defense argued Milton was an inspiring, unsophisticated visionary, genuinely enthusiastic about the technology, not a calculated fraudster, and that prosecutors were railroading a founder for talking up his company the way ambitious founders often do. The jury didn't buy it. On October 14, 2022, after roughly 5 hours of deliberation, Milton was convicted on 2 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of securities fraud. "We're going to keep fighting," his attorney told reporters outside the courthouse. Sentencing came over a year later, in December 2023. Under federal guidelines, Milton's crimes called for a recommended sentence in the range of 27 to 33 years. Prosecutors requested 11. Milton's lawyers asked for probation. Judge Edgardo Ramos landed well below either number: 4 years in federal prison, along with a $1 million fine and forfeiture of a roughly 4,700-acre ranch purchased with proceeds from the fraud. Milton remained free on bond pending appeal, meaning he never actually reported to prison following that sentence. Nikola itself never recovered. Despite beginning limited production, the company built fewer than 1,000 trucks total before, in February 2025, filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, a collapse from a peak valuation of $34 billion to nothing, leaving retail investors who'd believed in the hydrogen truck vision with, by prosecutors' estimate, combined losses exceeding $660 million. Then came the twist very few frauds in this series have had. In March 2025, President Trump personally called Trevor Milton to inform him he was granting a full and unconditional pardon, wiping out his conviction, his sentence, and, critically, more than $690 million in restitution he'd been ordered to pay back to defrauded investors and Nikola shareholders. Trump told reporters he believed Milton had been unfairly targeted, saying he was taken advantage of and had done nothing wrong. News outlets reported that Milton and his wife had donated over $1.8 million to a Trump-aligned political committee the previous October, and that Milton's trial attorney was the brother of the sitting Attorney General, though people close to the matter said that attorney was not personally involved in securing the pardon. Milton, for his part, posted that the pardon was a pardon of innocence, and that he'd been railroaded by an overzealous justice system. For the investors still holding the losses, the restitution they'd been legally owed simply evaporated. Every fraud in this series eventually meets a reckoning, a trial, a sentence, some kind of accounting for what was taken. Nicola's story is the first one in this series where the reckoning itself got undone. The engineering deception at the heart of this story was almost embarrassingly simple. A truck that coasted downhill, filmed to look like it was driving. It's the kind of trick a viewer might expect to be caught immediately. Instead, it helped build a $34 billion valuation, and even after conviction, even after sentencing, the final chapter wasn't accountability. It was a phone call. Whatever you make of that ending, the core lesson connects directly to every story in this series. A compelling video, a confident founder, and investors eager to believe in a very good story. The rolling truck worked, for a while, for the same reason all of these frauds work. Not because the deception was sophisticated, but because almost nobody stopped to ask if it was real. If you want to see where this same pattern started, go check out our video on Charlie, Javis, and Frank. A very different company, the exact same instinct to fake it until the money runs out. And subscribe, because next up in this series, we're heading to Germany for one of the largest corporate frauds Europe has ever seen: Wirecard.